Me and Ethan chatted on the phone about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and I got a little bit of his backstory. And this is a crazy thing, and you got to respect this hustle. But at the age of 14, 13, you're trying to sell shoes, and then you start moving into something, and you need to gain more traction. You need to market. Social media, when we were younger kids, I mean, it's not as prevalent as it is right now. It's not like it's so simple. You just post and boom, you can get in front of a million people. How did you go about marketing and gaining business at such a young age?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing I learned with marketing was my sneaker event, but I'll talk about with my sneaker wholesale first. So, like I already explained, I basically did the used shoes and stuff, which was easier because I was just leveraging platforms like eBay and Go, which already had all the customers. So I wasn't really learning anything. The big change that I learned with networking, I would say more than marketing, was when I started wholesaling. So I was actually using a bunch of sneaker bots and things like that to buy a bunch of shoes off drops and then ship them to New Jersey. Actually, here my friend had a warehouse here and he would manage it. But we were collectively buying thousands of Yeezys every single drop and Jordans every single time. So we had, and like I was saying, a lot of it was like on credit. A lot of it was, market drops within a matter of days. So like
Yeah.
you have to be on top of it. I would say like the biggest thing that like helped me with networking was organizing all of the people that I've ever known. So if I met somebody and they were anything related to the sneaker space, I would log them in a contact book and I would like put like seller NJ, buyer like NY or like whatever, or like somebody that owns an event in MI. Like I had all those contacts. So that way, whenever I got a list of shoes, I can just send it to all the contacts and like be on top of it and like follow up like, oh, like you need anything right now for your store or your wholesale business. Like I was always on top of that with
Yeah.
networking and just never letting any of those like connections go to waste. That was like a massive thing that I learned with like connections. This was when I was like 15, 16. That was like a large thing that to this day has helped me so much. Like when I launched Sire for the first time, all of those contacts, if it was seller, buyer, whatever, I combined all those people into a group chat and I texted them. I said, hey, I just came out with the software for the sneaker space. It's unlike anything else you've ever seen. Please, if I've ever worked with you, if you don't mind reposting my recent Instagram reel. And I had probably, I think like over 100 reposts in that same day. And a lot of these people I haven't talked to in years, but it's just like they remember seeing me when I was like a little kid, like trying to wholesale them to like 5 pairs, now like creating them my own app. So like I would say definitely keeping in contact with those people is important. I learned a lot about networking at a young age. And then kind of shifting over to the marketing social media side. I didn't use any marketing for my sneaker business because I wasn't direct to consumer. It was all just like who you know and
Right.
like texting them directly. Outreaching through Instagram DM was a massive thing for sneakers. But within the event space, I learned a lot more about building a brand and a real like business as compared to like reselling.
Yeah.
And I used a lot of social media. So yeah, the first event, I didn't even know how to use ads. I think I spent $50 and I had no idea what I was doing. I literally, for my first videos, it was actually very difficult because it was really hard. You couldn't copy off other events because we had no events yet. And a
Yeah.
lot of these other events, they would just use clips from their past events. And so I had nothing. So I had to just pretty much like sell a dream here and be like, all right, well, we've never done an event and like I don't know what I'm doing, but promise buy my vendor spots. So there was a lot of videos of me just literally in my basement and I set up like a little banner behind me with my shoes. I was like, all right, this is why our event's better. And I added a bunch of new value propositions that no one's seen before within
Yeah.
sneakers. So like, and I used my own experience as a bulk buyer, vendor, because I was in the shoes of all the people that were at those events. So like, something I did was for the vendors in the morning, people usually pull up in like a U-Haul truck or a van or some sort, and they would have to basically unload their whole truck and then walk it into the vendor table, like holding it by their hands. And people are moving in like 200 shoes. It takes like
Yeah.
30 minutes and it's so much work and it's annoying. So what I did is I hired a bunch of kids from my school and I created sneaker ballet. So we
Really?
had a bunch of dollies and we would actually come out to their car. We would unload all of it and we had all the supplies. We brought it to their vendor table for completely free. So like my sell to vendors was like, okay guys, I know it's super annoying when you pay $200 for a vendor table and have to bring it all in, and you sell nothing, you bring it all back out. It's all this work, you're tired, you actually made no sales. So I can't promise you sales because I've never done an event, but what I can promise is that you're not going to have a broken back by the end of the event. And that was kind of what I did. I tried to figure out other things to kind of incentivize people when I first launched it. So that was one thing. And another big thing that I did is I went to every local sneaker store, any sort of influencer within the sneaker space in my local town, which was like the Metro Detroit area. I would literally pull up to a sneaker store not knowing who they are. And they've never met me. And I would come with a little banner. And I was like, hey, we're doing an event. It was on April 30th, 2022, I think. I was like, we're doing an event. If you're down to make a video, like we'll collab it on our Instagram and your Instagram, and we'll give you free access to the event so you can come and buy bulk for shoes. And these people usually have, somewhere between 5,000 and 50,000 followers, but they're all like local people that would come to my event. And they would usually always be down because I told them like, oh, well, we will store all your stuff. We'll bring it to your car at the end of the day. We have a bulk buying competition. Whatever store buys the most, we're going to give them a $300 pair of shoes for free. And so they're all like super like, yeah, this is awesome. And so they'd be down to do the video. We posted it. And that was what brought a lot of traction, was just literally just showing up to the stores, just asking. And I didn't even have a car. Like my dad was driving me around. Like you drive like 45 minutes to these stores hoping that they would accept it. But yeah, that was like the biggest thing with marketing. I would say just kind of, and there was no strategy either. That's why when I look back, I'm like, I don't know how I pulled this off. There's no strategy. But yeah, we sold out all of our vendor spots, which were $120. I think we had 70 slots there at the first event. And then we sold around 500 tickets at $20 each.
So
and it was
when
wild.
you say you're going to vendor, I mean, that's door-to-door sales, right? You're just knocking on a door and speaking to
someone. These were stores. So these are people that would buy from our vendors. Okay. Like another thing, was I would go to other trade shows that were like competing with me, and I would literally go up to every vendor table. I had a mini flyer, and I would this was another strategy I did. Since I was also selling shoes at the time, I would make a deal with them. And let's say it's like $500 for the deal and it's like 10 pairs of shoes or something. I'd be like, all right, what I'll do is I'll give you 400 and a free vendor table. So I literally force them. And if they're like, nah, I'm good, I'll be like, all right, I'm walking away then. And they would always fold. That was how I sold out the vendor tables. I probably picked up out of like the total vendor tables, I probably got 25 that way, just by literally forcing my way in through another business. That was actually a skill I learned that works very well for me now. Cause like I'll like negotiate in like within the network, right? Like I was saying with the Amazon thing, it's like if somebody's using my inventory system, it's a simple like plugin to use the shipment, or like vice versa, So like kind of like giving them something that I know they want, but like being like, all right, well, you're going to have to risk and try something that I want to get off the ground. Gotcha. That was like a very important thing that now looking back, I see kind of where I learned that. It's probably from that.
And then you also mentioned like, it's kind of just trial and error. I found I post stuff on social media. It's 100% trial and error. Like at the start, there's zero strategy. You are just spitting out things left and right, hoping that the market likes something, and then you're going to pivot and start making similar content like that. I talk to a lot of content, like big guys, 200,000 followers, 100,000 followers, 500,000. They say the same thing. And that is, I never know what I'm doing. You just never know what you're doing. Would you say that's a similar thing with your experience in business?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, because if you try and copy somebody else and use their strategy, it never works because they're not doing the same thing as you, and you're always one step behind. Like the best thing is to just use your own experience, look into your own business and life, and think about like what you find annoying in a business, or like what you think could be improved from your own opinion, and then go from there. Be like, oh, well, I watch this guy's videos and I think they suck because of this. I'm just going to make something that I would watch more, that I would enjoy. And then, because a lot of people, like whether they know it or not, like they probably would agree, so because people are still people. Like we all have like similar lives in some ways,
It's a frustrating thing though. You're like, dude, I have no idea what I'm doing right now. You're sitting on your bed. You're just like, what the fuck am I doing? But I think you just got to keep chugging along, and you're going to figure it out at some point. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Somewhere on the screen should direct you to somewhere else in our channel. But But as always, believe foolishly.